Lucifer, Occult, Symbolism of the Statue of Liberty. Revelation 22, verse 16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. Do you really think that this is the face of a woman? Do you really think that it represents freedom? Think again, for this is Lucifer, the light bearer, the Phosphorus, Prometheus, the Lord of the age and the ages to come, the light of the world, the morning and bright stars, Jesus in its true garments. I'm going to present to you the occult symbolism of the so-called Statue of Liberty. In this first part, I'll reveal to you why it is the statue of a male figure, not that of a woman, and the occult meaning of his head, the forehead. This is one of the most important gender markers. Look at the ridge of bone that runs right across the forehead just above the eyes. It is often referred to as brow bossing. It is usually far more pronounced than males. In fact, many genetic women have almost no discernible brow bossing at all. Their foreheads tend to be gently rounded overall with a fairly flat front. Also, men's foreheads are often backward sloping, while women's tend to be more vertical. The bossing above the eyes is called the Orbital Realm and is made of solid bone, but the bulge towards the middle of the brow ridge covers the usually hollow area of the frontal sinuses, the eyebrows. Female eyebrows generally sit a little higher than male eyebrows, and they usually have a thinner and more arched shape, mainly due to plucking. The female nose, it tends to be smaller, short, and have a narrow bridge and nostrils than the male one. Also, female noses often have a straighter or more concave profile and tend to be blunter and more upturned at the tip. Men's are often more humped and less turned up. Female cheeks, it tends to be fuller and more rounded than male ones. Men often have quite hollow cheeks. That is because their cheeks carry less fat. The distance between the top lip and the base of the nose, it is usually longer in males. When a woman's mouth is relaxed and slightly open, she usually shows a few of her upper teeth. This is considered attractive and also lends a youthful appearance to the face. In fine, a female face tends to be more rounded overall, with the two rounded corners of the hairline at the top and the rounded chin and jaw below. The lower third of the male face is usually longer because of the long top lip and the tall chin. The diadem. In U.S. patent number 11023, the diadem is described as follows. The head with its classical yet severe and calm features is surmounted by a crown or diadem from which radiate divergently 7 rays tapering from the crown and representing a halo. Here is what the 7 rays represent. In the occult sciences, light is known as an emanation from God, that light which opened the eyes of Adam and Eve. This emanation or manifestation of divine light is divided into 7 rays, or the 7 manifestations of light, namely the ray of freedom, the ray of order, the ray of love, the ray of compassion, the ray of knowledge, the ray of wisdom, and last, but the most important, the ray of harmony. These 7 rays are better explained by Ernest Wood in his book, The 7 Rays. There are 7 forces in man and in all nature. The real substance of the concealed sun is a nucleus of mother substance. It is the heart and matrix of all the living and existing forces in our solar universe. It is the kernel from which proceed to spread on their cyclic journeys all the powers that set in action the atoms in their fundamental duties, and the focus within which they again meet in their 7th essence every 11th year. He who tells thee he has seen the sun, laugh at him, as if he had said that the sun moves really onward in his diurnal path. It is on account of this septenary nature that the sun is spoken of by the ancients as one who is driven by 7 horses equal to the meters of the Vedas, or again that though he is identified with the 7 Gana classes of being in his orb, O-R-B, he is distant from them, as he is indeed, as also that he has 7 rays, as indeed he has. The 7 beings in the sun are the 7 holy ones, self-born from the inherent power of the matrix, in the matrix of mother substance. It is they who send the 7 principal forces called rays, which at the beginning of Pralaya, Pralaya, will center into 7 new suns for the next Manvantara, Manvantara. The energy from which they sprang into conscious existence in every sun is what some people call Vishnu, capital Vishnu, which is the breath of the absoluteness. The 7 rays are said to be 7 major types of light substance, spirit matter, waves, particles, that compose the created universes. The 7 rays locally originate within the solar logos, i.e. the consciousness of the divine being of the sun. They have their ultimate origin within the mind of God. Each of the 7 rays is believed to be associated with a different kind of occult energy and a different color. Their symbol is the rainbow. The number 7 is known in the inner circle as the sacred number 7. Let us expand more your knowledge about this number. Deity functions on personal, pre-personal, and superpersonal levels. Total deity is functional on the following 7 levels. Number 1, static, self-contained and self-existent deity. Number 2, potential, self-willed and self-purposive deity. 3, associative, self-personalized and divinely fraternal deity. Number 4, creative, self-distributive and divinely revealed deity. 5, evolutional, self-expansive and creature-identified deity. 6, supreme, self-experimental and creator unifying deity. Deity functioning on the first creature identificational level as time, space, over controllers of the grand universe, sometimes designated the supremacy of deity. Number 7, ultimate, self-projected and time-space transcendent deity. Deity omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Deity functioning on the 2nd level of unifying divinity expression as effective over-controllers and absolute night upholders of the master universe. as compared with the ministry of the deities to the grand universe. This absolute function in the master universe is tantamount to universal over control and super substance, so sometimes called the ultimacy of deity. When we attempt to conceive of perfection in all phases and forms of relativity, we encounter 7 conceivable types. Number 1, absolute perfection in all aspects. Number 2, absolute perfection in some phases and relative perfection in all other aspects. Number 3, absolute relative and imperfect aspects in varied association. Number 4, absolute perfection in some respects, imperfection in all others. Number 5, absolute perfection in no direction, relative perfection in all manifestations. Number 6, absolute perfection in no phase, relative in some, imperfect in others. Number 7, absolute perfection in no attribute, imperfection in all. The 7 interpretations of the word God. Number 1, God the Father, creator, controller, and upholder. The universal Father, the first person of deity. Number 2, God the Son, coordinate creator, spirit controller, and spiritual administrator. The eternal Son, the second person of deity. Number 3, God the Spirit, conjoint actor, universal integrator, and mind bestower. The infinite Spirit, the third person of deity. Number 4, God the Supreme, the actualizing or evolving God of time and space, personal deity associatively realizing the time-space experiential achievement of creature-creator identity. The Supreme Being is personally experiencing the achievement of deity unity as the evolving and experiential God of the evolutionary creatures of time and space. Number 5, God, the sevenfold deity personality, anywhere actually functioning in time and space. The personal paradise deities and their creative associates functioning in and beyond the borders of the central universe and power personalizing as the supreme being on the first creature level of unifying deity revelation in time and space. This level, the grand universe, is the sphere of the time-space dissension of paradise personalities in reciprocal association with the time-space ascension of evolutionary creatures. Number 6, God the ultimate, the eventuating God of super time and transcendent space. The second experiential level of unifying deity manifestation. God the ultimate implies the attained realization of the synthesized absolute super-personal, a time-space transcendent and eventuated experiential values, coordinated on fine creative levels of deity reality. Number 7, God the absolute, the experientializing God of transcendent super-personal values and divinity meanings, now existential as the deity absolute. This is the third level of unifying deity expression and expansion. On this super creative level, deity experiences exhaustion of personalizable potential, encounters completion of divinity, and undergoes depletion of capacity for self-revelation to successive and progressive levels of others. Personalization. Deity now encounters, impinges upon, and experiences identity with the unqualified absolute. The 7 Hermetic Principles upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based are as follows. Number 1, the principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The Kabbalion, capital K-Y-B-A-L-I-O-N. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality, underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and, in short, all that is apparent to our material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite living mind. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole and in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live and move and have our being. Number 2, the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below; as below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the means of solving many a dark paradox and hidden secret of nature. And there are planes beyond our knowing, but when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. The principle is of universal application and manifestation on the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is an universal law. Number 3, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion, everything vibrates, nothing is at rest. Facts which modern science endorses and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify, and yet the Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. This principle explains that the difference between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from varying rates of vibration. Number 4, the principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. This principle embodies the truth that everything is dual. Everything has two poles. Everything has its pair of opposites, all of which were old Hermetic axioms. It explains the old paradoxes that have perplexed so many, which have been stated as follows: theses and antitheses are identical in nature but different in degree. Opposites are the same, different only in degree. The pairs of opposites may be reconciled. Extremes meet. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half-truths. Every truth is half false. There are two sides to everything, etc., etc., etc. It explains that in everything there are two poles or opposite aspects, and that opposites are really only the two extremes of the same thing, with many varying degrees between them. Number 5, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. This principle embodies the truth that in everything there is manifested a measured motion to and fro, a flow and inflow, a swing backward and forward, a pendulum-like movement, a tide-like ebb and flow, a high tide and low tide between the two poles which exist in accordance with the principle of polarity described a moment ago. There is always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This is in the affairs of the universe. Suns, worlds, men, animals, mind, energy, and matter. Number 6. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law, not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. This principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect, an effect from every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law, that nothing ever merely happens, that there is no such thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower plane, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. The Hermetics understand the art and methods of rising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and by mentally rising to a higher plane, they become causes instead of effects. Number 7, the principle gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. This principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything, the masculine and feminine principles ever at work. This is true not only of the physical plane, but of the mental and even the spiritual planes. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex, capital S, capital E, and capital X, sex. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. While others can only see the head of the Statue of Liberty as described in the documents of the patent, those in the know can visualize the totality of its true meaning. It is the head of Lucifer. The light bearer. The Statue of Liberty bears the light. It is indeed a light bearer. In other words, it is a Lucifer. In Latin, the word Lucifer literally means light bearer, which in that language is used as a name for the dawn appearance of the planet Venus, heralding daylight. The name was applied by the church fathers to Satan on the basis of Luke 10, verse 18, where Satan is said to fall as lightning from heaven. Certain Gnostic sects regarded Lucifer as a divine power in his own right, or as the firstborn son of God. Lucifero. M-R-A-P-I-S-A-R-D-I, Lucifero. He is also known as Phosphorus. He who brings light, also known as Hesopharos, the Greek god of the morning star. He was represented as a naked, winged youth hurrying ahead of his mother, Eos, or the sun god Helios, Helios, with a torch in his hand. In Latin, he was called Lucifer. The following text refer to the light bearer as the occult schools know him, her. Isaiah 14, verse 12, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Revelation 2, verse 26, And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end. To him will I give power over the nations. Revelation 2, verse 27. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Revelation 2, verse 28. And I will give him the morning star. Revelation 2, verse 29. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Revelation 22:16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. Next, I present to you how Bartholdi describes his masterpiece. To all whom it may concern, be it known that I, Augusta Bartholdi, of Paris in the Republic of France, have originated and produced a design of a monumental statue representing liberty enlightening the world, being intended as a commemorative monument of the independence of the United States, and I thereby declare the following to be a full, clear, and exact description of the same, reference being had to the accompanying illustration, which I submit as part of this specification. The right arm is thrown up and stretched out, with a flamboyant torch grasped in the hand. The flame of the torch is thus held high above the figure. The arm is nude. The drapery of the sleeve is dropping down upon the shoulder in voluminous folds. In the left arm, which is fallen against the body, is held a tablet, upon which is inscribed 4th July 1776. The light barrier. What the Statue of Liberty is holding in its hand is not really just a tablet. It is actually a tablet in the shape of a keystone. It actually refers to this one particular keystone. Keystone. Vousssoir. Matthew 21, verse 42. Jesus saith unto them, Did ye never read in the scriptures the stone which the builders rejected? The same is become the head of the corner. This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Matthew 21, verse 43. Therefore say I unto you, the kingdom of God shall be taken from you and given to a nation, bringing forth the fruit thereof. Matthew 21, verse 44. And whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken, but on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder. The tablet, keystone, is the corpus hermeticum, capital C ORPUS, capital HERMETICUM. The Statue of Liberty is holding in its arms the emerald tablets. This text, the key of all magical allegories, is regarded as the work of Hermes, capital HERMES, Hermes, the messenger of the gods, brought wisdom to men via the emerald tablets. Get the picture yet? Hermes is another version of the light bringer about the emerald tablets, which may be called the keystone of the whole edifice of occult science, are grouped innumerable legends that are either its partial translation or its commentary, reproduced perpetually under 1,000 varied forms. So what the Statue of Liberty, Lucifer, is holding in her hands is a symbol of all the occult knowledge of the age and the ages to come, to be continued.